Welcome everybody to Makers and Methods from the Drama Department at ACC. I'm Florinda Bryant, and I'm extremely happy, ecstatic, over the moon, happy to be here talking with my homegirl, my sister in art, Virginia Grise. Vicky, hey. And so thank you so much for making time to be here. I know you're extremely busy. So can we start off by just tell us a little bit about, tell the people who don't know you what they need to know about who you are. Let's start with that one.
I actually, my name is Virginia Grise. I'm a theater artist. I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, but really I was raised an artist in Austin. So I was raised, part of why Florinda and I are art sisters is because I was raised by Sharon Bridgeforth and Omi Oshun in a project called the Austin Project, which was a project that brought together scholars, organizers, and artists to write about their lives, really. And we were in that project. I was in it for a number of years, I think 3 years consecutively. And then the joke is that once you're in the Austin Project, you don't leave the Austin Project. And so I still consider that very much foundational in terms of my family. And I also feel like I was supported as an artist very much from the bookstore Resistencia, that at the time was being run by the founder and owner, Raul Salinas, and is still in Austin, Texas. That became the place where I could meet other artists and organizers and also just show up and lie down on the floor and write a piece, And so I really appreciated always having that place as my personal drop-in center in some ways. And since then, I went from Austin to LA, where I went to school a little north of LA at California Institute of the Arts. I studied with Carl Hancock Rux. From there, I went to Minneapolis. I had the opportunity to live with Lori Carlos for a year, who also is very instrumental in my upbringing as an artist. And then moved back to LA and then to New York. And so I am back in Austin after 7 years in New York City. And so I'm really glad to be back here for the first time living in Texas in over a decade. And so it feels good to be home.
Very good, and welcome home. Vicky, I feel like I have conversations with people and I'm like, Vicky's here, everybody, to have you here and have you back in Austin, I think is amazing for all of us. So I'm gonna get right to it. I wanna know, what are you working on right now? What's going on in your world? What kind of projects do you have on the table?
Well, like everybody else who's a working artist, a freelance artist, everything about a year ago, everything was canceled, shut down. We had no kind of knowing or understanding how long we would be in this moment of global pandemic. So when shows started getting shut down in March, people were trying to reschedule for the summer, right? Thinking that this would all be over very quickly. So I had in my gut feeling that wasn't true. I thought that this was going to be a much longer process, and I thought that it was going to be a much longer process, mostly because I thought that we would have a very difficult time actually following what needed to get done for it to be a quicker process, both from our government and from individuals. And so at the beginning of the pandemic, something happened to me. There was a shift. I'd been gone for a long time. So I'd been living in Austin for 2 years, but I'd really been gone. I'd been on the road. I'd been touring. I was gone. I came home and my house was empty. My partner wasn't here. My house was empty. And I really did just spend probably an entire month falling out, grieving, crying. When I couldn't grieve and cry anymore, I got up and just started cleaning. It's the only thing that I knew how to do. So I would just clean every single day. And that went on for like a month. And I thought if I kept repeating that, something like, what's the next thing that needs to happen, And so I'm very, very fortunate that as my work was literally canceled in 24 hours. 2 years of work got taken off the table. I also was beginning a new residency at Academia Theater Company. And so it coincided with the pandemic in some ways. So I was supposed to begin in September of last year, but they moved it so that I could begin in May. And that's a 3-year artist in residency where I am on staff and employed as part of the theater company. And so then I really had a type of freedom that most people didn't, where I could really explore whatever I wanted to explore and not worry about, in some ways, I mean, I still had but not have to worry about how money was coming in. I was able to make decisions that were about only artistic exploration. What did I want to explore now? And so what I ended up doing was saying that I wanted to grow something, like I wanted to figure out how to grow, and I wanted to grow something. And so my partner, who I call it Techo Butch, made me these huge garden beds, and we had truckloads of dirt brought in, and I started growing things very unsuccessfully. I have very bad ancestral memory in these hands, or there is no ancestral memory when I touch that dirt, but that's a whole nother story. But in the process of doing that, I decided to work on this piece called A Farm for Meme, which was about the piece, and you can find it online. It's a virtual production. The piece is actually about the destruction of the South Central Farm, which was a 14-acre urban farm in South Central LA that the people built from an empty lot. And long story to how what ends up happening is that the city sells that piece of land to a developer because of some issues that they were having contractually, sells it to this developer who then bulldozes the farm. And so the story is about a little boy who's telling me, don't worry, he needs to live on an encampment trying to save the farm from the bulldozers, and tells me, don't worry, we're going to plant more things. When they pull something out the ground, it grows back. And so that really became like my anthem for the pandemic. Like, we're going to plant more things. They're going to keep trying to bulldoze it. They're going to keep trying to pull things out the ground. And we're going to just keep growing back, you know? And so that became my anthem. And so what I was able to do, which I have loved as a practice, is to take this one piece of writing, which was just 4 pages, and see all of the different ways that I can flip it and turn it. Like, what can we do with it? And so it was a virtual production. It became a radio play. It became a coloring book that I did in collaboration with Mel Dominguez. And then I started to really think about the concepts and the ideas in the piece. Like, what does it mean to actually divest from the ways in which things are killing us? How do we divest from those institutions, from those places, those organizations, those ways of moving in the world, and how do we actually support each other? And so most recently, I began thinking about this idea of who are my sister gardens, like who are the people that I want to grow with. And that to me is material and also poetic. So it really is like, how do you make the broccoli grow? Like, I really actually want to learn how to make the broccoli grow, but it is also like, how do we nurture and nourish each other? And so most recently, the month of March, I invited a group of artists just to send me questions, quotes, pictures to help us get into the celebration of spring. So the first day of spring is March 20th this year. And so on March 20th, what I want to do is I'm inviting folks just to go outside and have a moment of marking a new season. A year since we've been in this moment of pandemic. Again, how long we're going to continue to be in it is another question. But what does the new season look like for you? And how do you mark it? And how do you celebrate it? And how do you let go of the old season? And so that's the focus of what I've been doing now. And the pictures, the questions are all, on Instagram and those types of things. And then the performances are going to be people in their individual locations of just how they market. And so I'm gathering a group of 4. We've been in a pod together, and we're actually going to do a velación. So we're going to, the night before, we'll stay up to greet the new day of spring, which is at 4 a.m. We're going to make barbacoa outside. Traditionally, we're going to drink and eat and talk and laugh and cry. And to me, fundamentally, that's what theater is. It's the gathering of folks to tell stories. It's the gathering of folks to imagine, build, and create new worlds collectively. And so that's really where my focus is right now. It's like, what does it actually mean to really take this concept and really see it through? Like, what does the building of sister gardens look like throughout the communities that I have that are because of the way that we have to work, are in very different geographic locations. How do we continue to support each other from afar?
Vicky, oh my gosh. And then there we have it. I feel like everything about our industry has changed. Our work has changed. How we do the work has changed. So I'm going to lean into letting how we even do these talks, because I love what you said. I feel like it gives us, like, without hope, we have nothing. And I think that bringing in how you're tying this all together while still fearlessly pursuing your craft and being so brutally honest about the fallouts. And so that those get back ups mean so much. I feel like any artist could go Google you and find out about all of the work you do, but what's at the core of it, the thing that I always learn from you the most is hearing you talk about this bit about how you bring work to life. So I thank you so much for checking in with me today. Thank you so much for making me think about my garden. Marcus McQuarter, who's the head of our department, is also a gardener and has been trying to get me in that place. Yeah, my ancestral memory in these hands is not anything either, but I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna keep working on it. And thank you for sharing how you continue to do your work. Ladies and gentlemen, Virginia Grise, thank you all for joining me on this segment. And I'll see you next time, where I'll bring another artist to the table and we'll hear how they're doing the work. Thank you so much, Vicki.
Thank you, Florinda. It's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, I'm in Austin now. I'm here. I'll be here for at least 3 years.
I know, and now they better act like they know.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vicki. Thank you.